Ladies and gentlemen, here's a doctor on the DARPA internet. I also want you to appreciate anything that's financed by the Rockefeller Trust, you shouldn't trust, nor would you trust it. And anytime you hear people talking about being unwell or mental health, by and large, they bought into something instead of using the brain between their ears, which is absolutely ironic. I'm going to read you what I wrote, then I'll play her video. And naturally, I have to click more on these because that's divisive. And I might have to do it again. We'll see. As it reads, truth of the matter is, yuppies in blow-up costumes are trying to dance their way into viral status. I'm talking about here in Portland, Oregon. Meanwhile, ICE still exists. The ICE facility still stands. Dogs of the state are still breathing. And people are still being persecuted. That's what's really taking place here in Portland, Oregon. And this jazz people should know and they should appreciate, but people confuse entertainment with research because I'm surrounded by a bunch of superficial internet babies. Yeah. Trump is an actor and a faceman of the District of Columbia. The District of Columbia was established under the Organic Act in 1871. This also marks when the Republic, for the people by the people, was officially dead and done. The District of Columbia, just to be clear, is a third party. It's a phony jurisdiction. It's a shadow government. That's one way to appreciate it. Back to point. District of Columbia is the bottom of the trilateral city-states. Maybe I skipped something. 1 second. Officially dead and done. Oh, I said nothing is for the people by the people and hasn't been since. The District of Columbia is the bottom of the trilateral city-states, and the trilateral city-states is in league with Israel. Do appreciate the top of the trilateral city-states is the UK. The UK and America helped establish this golden calf, this earthly abomination, which is Israel. When you look up at night, you probably would call that the Zodiac, which is laughable, but that's also Israel. That's why I'm talking about a golden calf and, an earthly abomination, and that might go over most people's heads. All religion is social control, but you could still use some of it as a tool, and our masters clearly understand these things because they're utilizing the jargon. Back to point. In league with Israel. What you need to appreciate is most people will repeat what they're spoon-fed, and this didn't do what I wanted. That's the wrong version of there. Thanks, Google, and that's my fault for being lazy. They'll repeat what they're spoon-fed on the DARPA internet, because good people tend to be gullible. Trump is playing a role. Part of his job is to polarize the masses. Case in point, voting doesn't matter. They've always been selected, not elected. But more importantly, if you understood what the Hegelian dialectic is, I'm talking blue versus red, conquer and divide, bread and fucking circuses, motherfucker, where I'm at, and how it relates to fascism, look up the House of Congress, look up the Lincoln Memorial. They're both branded with the sigil of fascism, which is the fasci. No one would wear buttons that state, I voted. It's absolutely absurd, but how many people proudly wear buttons every, 4 years, right? That say, I voted, because they bought into the left or the right, and they want to urge you to buy into these phony jurisdictions as well, because these phony jurisdictions are in place to subjugate the masses, which goes back to people being gullible and everything that I said in here, jiving, if you use your brain. And I'll probably be censored online for saying all of this. I said it's absolutely absurd, but most people don't have a goddamn clue what's going on. Take this superficial video, for example. Now, that's the cue to play this superficial video with somebody who brags about being a doctor. It's hilarious. Let's see if I can...
To the ground.
It's not at all.
Portland is burning to the ground.
It's not at all, actually. It's really not. And I have well-meaning people, smart people who are messaging me and are like, are we missing something? And you're not, other than the inner machinations of a complete narcissist.
She's using the jargon, and it's really easy to throw around narcissist. If she understood what's going on, she would understand he's playing a role. He's an actor. The fact that she rattles off narcissist proves, if I'm not mistaken, that she doesn't have a fucking clue what she's talking about. She's reacting. She's not thinking. It's cute because she just mentioned smart people, and she claims to be a doctor.
Psychopath. Not a perfect city, but it's not burning and we don't need the National Guard. And what we could use is the money that he's wasting on that for things that could actually help our city, like...
You and I are debt slaves. We became debt slaves in 1913 under, when, I almost said the wrong thing, when the Federal Reserve was established under the pretense of being both voluntary and temporary. So when you talk about, these funds being allocated to benefit you and I are a means to an end. We put bread on their table. So it's cute that she believes in all these phony jurisdictions and she's urging you by example to buy into this shit. That's not how it works. Once again, she's very smart and she's a doctor.
Mental health resources to help the people who are homeless, and the majority of them have untreated mental health disorders, things like that.
Do you know how many homeless people I interact with on a daily basis here in town? And they don't have mental issues. They just don't want to play part of this game. They don't want to sign W-2s because they understand that's unconstitutional, that type of shit. They know better. And they know that they can get around the system without participating in this trap. I shit you not. Some of them do have drug abuse, some of them do drugs and other wacky shit. Some of them, are schizophrenic on and off. I've bumped into people, some of them, do this, that, and the other thing, and some of them are just downright dirtbags. But they have more manners than most of the brain-dead yuppies that I interact with also on a daily basis. I shit you not. These motherfuckers will say thank you and step out of the way and say excuse me. The yuppies here in Portland will mow you down if you're not dressing like them and quite literally taking part in this fucking trap.
It's not at all, actually. It's really.
Oh, I guess that's her whole thing, right? Is that it?
Resources to help the people who are homeless. Majority of them have
I guess so.
Mental health disorders, things like that.
Yeah, trash. More trash on the net, on the DARPA internet. It's hard for me to see how many numbers in here actually jive, but just the same, when people such as this doctor, who's obviously very bright, she's far more intelligent than I am, shop things around on the DARPA internet, the algorithm promotes what people such as herself want you to believe in. In other words, they urge you to believe, repeat, etc., etc. And so it goes, and things don't get better, they get worse. You can use what I left in here as a fucking tool. Most people will not see this, give a shit about this, and if they do see it, they're not going to think about it. Sometimes I'll have people react and throw things at me, to see if it will stick. But it rarely does because they're not cooking with fire. Just the same, I don't know everything. I've spent a long time doing what I do. This is superficial shit to me that you should appreciate. You can't Google most of this. In terms of the District of Columbia, you can still Google that. The District of Columbia is the seat of the government. It's technically the seat of the lowest aspect of government. I'm referring to the bottom of the trilateral city-states, which is, once again, the District of Columbia, as symbolized by the Washington Monument. In case you don't know, the Vatican in Roma is the middle. That's social control having to do with the Catholic Church. I shit you not. And the top of the food chain, like I already said, is the UK. Specifically, it's a city-state. It's known as the Crown. It's also known as the City. It's affiliated with the quote-unquote royal family, which isn't royal. But it's a city-state. It's a banking financial district. This is where all your unconstitutional taxes go. All the money flows, all the money goes. That's where it ends up. And it also gets redistributed through a number of other channels. I've mentioned this a number of times. It's on the family crest of the quote-unquote royal family who's not royal. Look up the black nobility, the two houses that I remember, and I use as an example for you to reference, because you can use what I'm talking about as a fucking tool, unlike the doctor who is in fact a tool. Bad pun. Look up the House of Liechtenstein and look up the House of Orange. Unconstitutional taxes do get funneled to fucking Spain. To rich families. At least they used to, last time I checked. The point is for you to challenge anything and everything that I teach you. The point is for you to be invested, which means you're involved. But most people just want to click like, click share, and circulate the propaganda, which is why you and I were granted access, thanks to the Davos panel many, many decades ago, to the DARPA internet and free social media. And we were trained to carry around a cell phone and profile ourselves on free social media, all of which are red flags. So that garbage would, how should I put it? I'm kind of burning out here. If you think in terms of ratios, most things that people believe and repeat are garbage, and that's probably what you'll see and what you'll hear. People such as myself who are trying to help others are censored. In other words, it's highly unlikely that you'll see what I leave online and be granted, the option to think about these things. And if you jump into Google, Lord Google, and you try using some of this in terms of keywords, it's going to shoot you down. It's going to try to shoot you in the foot at every fucking crook in the road. And most people today, because attention spans are being done away with 60-second fucking videos, and when you scroll down and you look away, it drags you back to the top of the slush pile. How likely is it for anybody to buckle down and truly look into these things, actually research? Which is why I often state people confuse entertainment with research. It's also why this gal was rattling off the jargon that she rattled off. She bought into something, which are phony jurisdictions in place to subjugate the masses. What the fuck do I know?